Hello, fans. This is our first installment of BBL Tonight. I'm your host, 56-year BBL analyst Simon Smith. That's some damn good water. Sorry. Today we have a great show planned for you with a couple guests. First, we will start off with awards. Then we will work our way into the news of Ryan Canty and Ethan Provost and the disbanding Birmingham Bombers. Then we will get into the news of Danny Rickert and how our inside sources are saying the Houston Hornets rejected him as a free agent, requesting to join them. All right, I'd like to ask you on your predictions for Sam Morse's season.
Vladimir Pavlov. I'm one of our other co-analysts and co-hosts here. My predictions for Sam Morse's 2018 season, I think he's a pretty good player. I don't know if he'll live up to his potential on the hitting side of the ball. We've added a lot of new pitchers this year. I really do think that he will do work on the mound for the Las Vegas Lightning. I think he will be one of their top players, if not the top. But also, I think that he had a lot of spotlight before the acquisition of Jackson Conowitz. But, I think Jackson really steals the show and does a lot of work for the Las Vegas Lightning this season.
All right, but really, how big of an impact can Jackson Conowitz make? I mean, Sam Morse, obviously the ace of the team, possibly one of the best pitchers in the league. What impact is Jackson Conowitz really going to make on the mound and at the plate?
I'm obviously not trying to disrespect the career of Sam Morse. He obviously has had a wonderful career to this point in his BBL career. But, I really don't see him having that great of a year at the plate, I mean, obviously past years he's done a wonderful job, but, we've got pitchers like, Ryan Eaton. We got Danny Rickert. We got Alex Leonard, Big Haas. I really don't see him doing that well at the plate this season, All
right, so I see Riley Kloss and Mason Steele doing a very nice job in the field. Riley Kloss, a tremendous leadoff hitter. Mason Steele, he's going to bring a lot of power to that roster. But I don't know. I think Sam Morse can have a little bit better of a batting season. But I don't really see Jackson Conowitz having a bigger impact on that team.
I really do feel like you're missing my point here. Sam Morse, CVU season, first high school season, he did a terrible job at the plate, First 11 at-bats, no hits. Didn't get too many base hits. Not a lot of power. I didn't like what I saw out of him. But, however, Jackson Conowitz, he DH'd a lot, did a tremendous job at the plate. Mason Steele, left fielder, also did a tremendous job. I really don't see Sam Morse having that big of an impact this season. I think it's mostly going to be the team that he has built around him. Simon, I'd really like to be talking about the Birmingham Bombers. I think that's what the fans really want to hear about. Obviously, Ryan Canty was the heart and soul of that team. He actually resigned due to alleged threats from Riley Marchand. So, I'd really like to hear your opinion on this, but mine, I really think that they might have to disband.
Let's talk about how Muff could be kicked off the team. Now, my associate, Mr. Coleman, had an interview with him earlier today, and let's see what he has to say about that.
What's going on, guys? We're Riley Muff. So yeah, recently he's been kicked from the Birmingham Bombers. What's your input on that?
Oh, I got kicked off?
Yeah.
Since when?
Sebastian told me on the bus ride this morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, breaking news to me. Actually, my contract is protected, so he thinks he can kick me off, but I'm not leaving.
How do you feel about Ryan Canty giving ownership to Sebastian Domingo?
Mr. Canty said, he was busy over the summer. It's doubtful. We know he doesn't do anything, but...
Now, saying that, without Muff, what are the Birmingham Bombers really going to do? Because, Sebastian D'Amico, he's okay. He can do a lot of things. He can pitch better than anyone in the league. He can hit better than anyone in the league. But with Ethan Provost on the verge of retiring, not really liking Muff, and Ryan Canty saying he doesn't really have many things to do with this team, what's really next for the Birmingham Bombers?
In this offseason, more than anything, all you have to do is really go out and get that one all-star player, and then you've got a very solid team. So I think their move should be to go out, get a top-tier player in the class of 2020, then they just add another solid player, and then I think they're really good to go for the season. Ryan Canty, he's an amazing player, not to take anything away from that, but you know what? I think he's really replaceable, as almost anyone is in this league. I think all they need to do is get another good pitcher, another good hitter, and I think they're good to go for the season without really any problems, any issues, and I think they can get their team back together. I have a lot of faith in Sebastian D'Amico, good friend of mine. We used to go to grade school together, CCS graduates. I really think he can do a great job managing this team. I've seen his capability.
One thing that I want to ask is, what is really next for Muff? Now, we've seen interest from the Houston Hornets with Muff. We've seen the Houston Hornets maybe getting rid of Charlie Cantor for Muff. What is really next for Muff?
I really think Muff is a phenomenal player. I think that really it's his team presence that's really holding him back. He's a phenomenal pitcher, phenomenal hitter. I've seen his capabilities. I was actually teammates with him and Sebastian D'Amico back in the day. Shout out Charlotte Marlins. I really have confidence in Muff. I think he can add a great player to another team, but you know what? The Bombers are not that team. I don't think that really having him on that team is really worth having that presence in the dugout. I think he's taking more away from them than he's really adding.
Well, I agree. When you see these other players coming in, you never know who could become a free agent. Yanni Hershowitz coming into this league, a very new player. Where do you think that he will come to the Birmingham Bombers, maybe filling Muff's position?
No, I really don't see Yanni Hershkowitz going over to the Birmingham Bombers. I don't think he's an Alabama guy, WCS alumni. I really think a better suit for him would be Texas, he's obviously a cowboy, he just strikes me as that type of guy. But I really think that if the Houston Hornets do not get Yanni Hershkowitz, I think it's time to panic. Currently their team is an absolute dumpster fire, terrible management. McCaffrey is yet to take a stand over Calvin Merrill. Calvin Merrill removing two of their best players. And then Shea goes ahead and adds Charlie Cantor. I really don't think they have a very good team built around them. Calvin Merrill, terrible pitcher. Calvin Merrill can't hit the broadside of a barn. I really think that it's time to panic for the Houston Hornets. I think they need to trade away Charlie Cantor. I think they need Muff. And then they need to go ahead, get Yanni Hershkowitz. I think they'd be a phenomenal team if they make those moves.
Well, Yanni Hershkowitz would be a great addition. Shea McCaffrey has not taken a stand against Calvin Merrill, and I totally agree on that. Calvin Merrill taking off Isaac Bergeron and Eric Simpkins and turning down such a star player, Danny Rickert. What is really next for Calvin Merrill? Do you think he'll stay with the Houston Hornets?
I have the right to turn him down. I think if I was Shea McCaffrey, I'd be really mad at him right now. I think I'd consider trading him away.
I totally disagree about that. Actually, Calvin's gigantic. He's a very skilled player. I think he can do so much for any organization.
I'm actually really offended by that comment. Calvin Merrill's an absolutely terrible player. I think you're taking a lot away from our star players in this league, like Muff, Sebastian D'Amico, Hunter Whiteman. I think they're all phenomenal pitchers. When you say Calvin Merrill strikes everyone out, I don't know if you're joking or not, but Calvin Merrill, he doesn't do any work. He's a very mediocre player. I'd say subpar. I'd rather get a player such as Henry Berger, new to the league. I think he's going to do a lot. I think a lot of people are sleeping on him, as he has said in different interviews. You know, I'd rather have any player in this league than Calvin Merrill right now, and I think he's toxic for the management of the Houston Hornets, and I think he will be for any other team that he goes to.
No, Henry Berger, I had a talk with him today. He does think he's underrated. I kind of agree with that. I think that he can do lots of things in this league. Although, Calvin Merrill, he's very good. I don't think that anybody, even the best hitter in the league, Sebastian D'Amico, could even hit off him at all, especially Muff. I think Muff and Calvin Merrill, I think that might be a good trade. I think Calvin Merrill does not belong with the Houston Hornets, but I also think Muff does not belong with the Birmingham Bombers, as Ethan Provost is clearly more valuable. You know, he's really skinny, he's really tall. I think he's really, really fast, and he definitely can hit a ball.
No, obviously, I think we disagree on that Calvin Merrill situation. I'd rather see them, ship off Charlie Cantor, get Muff in return, just release Calvin Merrill. But we're gonna stop with that. I think Ethan Provost, I agree with you. He's a phenomenal player. I'd be really sad to see him retire, quite frankly. Already with the loss of Ryan Canty, it's quite sad. I'd like to see them compete, and I think Ethan Provost will help them do just that.
Now let's talk about the Predators. Very, very young management. Kieran Jurgensen, youngest manager in the league. I think he can do very well. And, big, humongous pitcher, Eric Simkins. I think that he'll throw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, maybe a 100-mile-an-hour curveball if he feels like it. He's not going to try hard in this league because he's just so good. And then you have Isaac Bergeron, just an amazing addition. I think he's going to hit lots of home runs, play first base. He really likes a gigantic glove.
You agree with you? I think the gigantic glove for Isaac, I think it helps a lot. I think really, quite frankly, I don't agree with your award predictions. I think he's definitely a top-tier fielder. I think he might come home with a Gold Glove award, But honestly, I think the biggest thing for Kieran Jurgensen, he's not managing the team. He's not picking up free agents, I think what he needs to do, go out, get a top-tier GM, Obviously, Mr. Coleman, Ulrich Meyer, maybe even possibly Muff. He could get him as a player and a general manager. I think that'd be the move for the Predators.
I totally agree with your opinion on that one. Let's get into a different argument about the landing spot of Calvin Merrill, also Muff, and what's really going to happen with those two. And also, what about Ethan Provost in his retirement? Is that really a thing that's going to happen, or is that a threat to Sebastian D'Amico and his management?
So I really see Muff. I think his ultimate landing spot is going to be the Houston Hornets. I think Charlie Cantor, he's going to end up as a free agent inevitably. Calvin Merrill, I don't really trust Shea's judgment there. I think he's going to actually end up staying with the Hornets. So, as for Sebastian Domingo and his friend Ethan Provost, I really think it's ultimately a scare tactic. I think Ethan really wants Muff off that team. I think that Ethan really, I don't think he's going to retire, but everyone in the league would be sad to see him go. I think he just wants Muff off. As far as Ryan Canty, sorry. I actually think that Ryan Canty's really going to inevitably come back. I'm really tearing up. I'm actually a Bombers fan at heart. I really see Canty coming back. Hopefully, they can get rid of Muff.
All right, so my colleague Vladimir, he's a little bit emotional, so I'm just gonna finish this up. It was great to have you guys watch the show. I'll see you guys tomorrow.